Good morning, everyone. I'm Megyn Kelly. It's Friday, January 30th, 2026, and this is your AM Update.
We're not going to go through the whole table because the last time we had a press conference, it lasted for 3 hours.
President Trump holds his first cabinet meeting of the year, urging top officials to celebrate their wins, but quickly.
The Biden-Harris administration didn't provide those specific, tangible things that people could see or feel.
As a new 2028 poll shows a divided Democrat field, possible contender Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro on a media blitz, taking some shots at possible future competitors. A man arrested in New York City after repeatedly ramming his car into a crowded Jewish center. And a landmark trial underway in California could reshape how social media companies design their products. All that and more coming up in just a moment on your AM Update. You know Pure Talk's favorite holiday? It's President's Day, because they believe wireless service should only cost you a couple of presidents, just a Jackson and a Lincoln to be exact. That's $25 a month. And that $25 a month will get you from Pure Talk unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data. Now compare that to Big Wireless. They would rather celebrate Benjamin Franklin Day, so they can charge your family hundreds every month. They love the Benjamins more and more and more, as long as you're paying them. Pure Talk is an American wireless company that supports our veterans and invests in a U.S.-only customer service team. So when you call, you're talking to someone right here at home. We all know they're trying to find a polite way not to say you're calling India and speaking with somebody in Bangladesh or someplace like that. Pure Talk uses the same towers as the big carriers, so enjoy superior 5G coverage without the inflated price. Just $25 a month for talk, text, and plenty of data. No contract, no cancellation fee. What are you waiting for? Go to puretalk.com/Kelly and you'll get 50% off your first month. Again, that's puretalk.com/Kelly to make the switch to Pure Talk. President Trump holding his first cabinet meeting of the year yesterday, the 10th of his second term. The president kicking off the meeting with a long list of accomplishments, focusing heavily on the economy, a trend followed throughout much of the meeting.
The Atlanta Fed is predicting an astounding 5.4% GDP growth in the fourth quarter. And just yesterday, the S&P 500 hit 7,000 for the first time ever. The stock market has set it's actually 53 all-time record highs since the election, adding $9 trillion in value to savings, retirement accounts, and 401ks. And we're drilling, I think I can say we're drilling more than at any time ever in the history. We're taking out more energy out of our land, but specifically, if you look at oil and gas, we've never been anywhere even close. We're now less than $2 in many areas, $2.30 a gallon average. Grocery prices, airfares, hotels, car payments, and rent prices are coming down very fast.
This meeting running shorter than the previous two marathon sessions, clocking in at just under an hour and a half. A December meeting taking longer than 2 hours, one in August more than 3. Before turning the remarks over to cabinet members, Mr. Trump, always the producer, advising speakers to keep it tight and declaring past cabinet meetings where he was accused of catching a nap too boring.
We are going to ask a couple of people to say a few words. We're not going to go through the whole table because the last time we had a press conference, it lasted for 3 hours. And some people said he closed his eyes. Look, it got pretty boring. In all fairness, I love these people. But there's a lot of people. It was a little bit at the boring side. But I didn't sleep. I just closed them because I wanted to get the hell out of here.
HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. with an update on the administration's efforts to work with drug companies to lower pharmaceutical prices for American consumers. President Trump pushing to secure Most Favored Nation, or MFN, pricing, a policy tying what Americans pay for certain drugs to the lowest prices charged in other developed nations. Here, Secretary RFKJ.
We now have agreements with 16 to 17 drug companies. And you asked us to do something, it was regarded as impossible. As you said, not only do I want MFN, but I want them to all reshore their production to this country. After we signed those agreements, the stock prices for those companies went up $1.3 trillion.
Amazing.
And they are reshoring. Eli Lilly is building 6 new plants, including an API plant. So the next time that we have a pandemic in this country, we're not going to be stuck buying API from China, who cuts us off. We're going to be able to make it right here. Novo Nordisk is building 4 new plants, and we are going to be releasing Trump RX so that every American can get the lowest prices in the developed world. In some cases, they're going to be lower than the lowest prices in the developed world. And that's going to be happening sometime probably in the next 10 days.
Energy Secretary Chris Wright crediting President Trump with unleashing American energy.
The United States oil production today is greater than Saudi Arabia and Russia combined, the number 2 and number 3 producers. Our natural gas production today is greater than Russia, China, and Iran combined, the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th largest natural gas producers. Huge production in the United States. Secretary Burgum at the Interior Department has taken in more money on oil and gas lease sales in the first year of this administration than the entire 4 years of the Biden administration. And beyond oil and gas, 6 new coal leases under this first year of this administration from the Interior Department, and coal production is growing again in the United States after years of decline. And this beautiful clean coal was the MVP of the huge cold snap we're in right now. I can say with some confidence, hundreds of American lives have been saved because of your leaning in and stopping the killing of coal and revitalizing coal.
Notably, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, who was in attendance, did not speak. The secretary facing severe criticism and some calls to resign from many Democrats and even a couple of Republicans in the wake of the Alex Preddy shooting Saturday in Minneapolis. President Trump skipping over several other cabinet officials as well, including Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Attorney General Pam Bondi. Vice President J.D. Vance asked if he would like to offer any comments at the end of the meeting, replying, quote, "It's okay, sir. I'm here for the free coffee." Mr. Trump wrapping up the rest of the meeting and, unlike past sessions, declining to take any questions from the press. A new poll showing hypothetical 2028 primary matchups among Democrats and Republicans, showing Vice President J.D. Vance dominating on the right, as the left appears far less unified. According to a new survey of nearly 3,000 likely voters by Big Data Poll, the vice president leads the field of possible 2028 Republican contenders among likely voters with 46% of the vote. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is in second at 9.5%. HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. tied with Secretary of State Marco Rubio in third with 6.8%, though Mr. Kennedy is a lifelong Democrat turned independent. As a presidential candidate, this poll includes him among Team Red. Senator Ted Cruz of Texas coming in fifth at just under 4%. The Democrat side of things, though, appearing far more divided. Former Vice President Kamala Harris leading the pack with 31%. California Governor Gavin Newsom, who at one point was leading in most matchups, now in second at 22%. Former Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg in third at 11.7%. Congresswoman AOC of New York at 6.4%, and Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro at 6.1%. Governor Shapiro officially launching a re-election bid earlier this month, blitzing the media this week with stops at The View, CBS Mornings, and The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, to name a few. The governor touching on a wide range of issues, some resonating beyond Pennsylvania. Tuesday on Colbert, the governor taking a swipe at a possible future political opponent, Vice President Vance.
What the vice president, who, by the way, I mean, such a sycophant, such a suck-up. He embarrasses himself daily as he seeks the affirmation of Donald Trump.
Maybe he'd do better to ask what kind of art he can put in the vice president's residence and demand to be in every single presidential meeting. How'd that work out for you, Gov? Mr. Shapiro, who was on the short list as the possible running mate to Kamala Harris during the 2024 presidential run, but was nixed for being too annoying, criticizing the Biden-Harris administration earlier this week on the Raging Moderates podcast.
I think historically, if I'm being candid, the Biden-Harris administration didn't provide those specific, tangible things that people could see or feel. I'll give you a very specific, concrete example. One of the biggest things holding back our rural communities is a lack of high-speed, affordable internet. Some people call that broadband. I was incredibly proud of President Biden when they got that infrastructure bill passed to provide the billions of dollars that were needed to plug everybody in, connect everybody in Pennsylvania. And do you know how many people, Scott, this many years later, have been connected to high-speed, affordable internet thanks to President Biden's law in Pennsylvania? Zero. That broadband example is just one where I think there's a real difference in approach. I'm about concrete, get shit done, show your work, and not just talking about it.
As early 2028 polling shows an unsettled Democratic presidential field, Senator Amy Klobuchar of Minnesota, another possible presidential contender, yesterday launching a bid for governor in Minnesota. Senator Klobuchar's announcement coming amid weeks of turmoil in her state, a fraud scandal, and now violent agitators taking to the streets in Minneapolis. The senator's campaign launch video focusing heavily on, what else, resisting the Trump administration's efforts to arrest and deport illegal immigrants who are murdering, raping, and molesting the people of Minnesota.
Minnesota, we've been through a lot. A beloved leader and her husband murdered in their home, little kids gunned down in a church, the killings of Renee Good, a mom of 3.
And Alex Preddy, a nurse who took care of our veterans.
3,000 ICE agents on our streets and in our towns, sent by an administration that relishes division. I believe we must stand up for what's right and fix what's wrong. That's why today I'm announcing my candidacy for governor of the state of Minnesota.
And I'm running for every Minnesotan who wants ICE and its abusive tactics out of the state we love.
The launch video making just a passing mention of the senator's plans to root out fraud and hold those who steal from her constituents accountable. The election is set for November 3rd. Coming up, a man arrested after repeatedly ramming his car into a Jewish center in New York City, and a major social media trial underway in California that has TikTok and Snapchat already settling. You don't have to overhaul your whole life in 2026. Just start with simple swaps, like upgrading your snacks. Masa chips are made with just 3 real ingredients: organic corn, sea salt, and 100% grass-fed beef tallow. No seed oils, no fillers, no mystery chemicals, just seriously good-tasting food. Unlike regular chips, Masa leaves you feeling satisfied and energized and not bloated or sluggish. And because they're more filling, you're not going to find yourself mindlessly snacking and still feeling hungry afterward. They have flavors like lime and churro. Ready to give Masa a try? Go to masachips.com/MK and use the code MK for 25% off your first order. Or simply click the link in the video description or scan the QR code to claim this delicious offer. Don't feel like ordering online? Masa's now available nationwide at your local Sprouts supermarket. Stop by and pick up a couple of bags before they're all gone. A man in custody after repeatedly ramming his car into the Chabad World Headquarters, the heart of a worldwide network of Jewish outreach centers, Wednesday night in New York City.
What's he doing? What is he doing?
36-year-old Dan Sohail, a New Jersey resident, captured on video driving a gray Honda sedan into the center's wooden doors, located at the bottom of a sloped driveway. The car backs up, then drives forward again, striking the entryway at least 5 times. One door knocked clear off its hinges, the others noticeably damaged. The suspect then exiting the car, seen wearing jean shorts, a t-shirt, and an unzipped jacket, despite below freezing temperatures. Police arriving on scene, taking Sohail into custody without resistance. Thankfully, there were no reported injuries. A spokesperson for the center telling the New York Post the building was packed at the time as worshipers gathered. NYPD Commissioner Jessica Tisch from the scene shortly after the arrest.
The bomb squad has responded to the scene and conducted a full sweep of the vehicle. The car has been cleared and no explosive devices were found. There are no reported injuries at this time. This incident is currently being investigated as a hate crime by the NYPD's Hate Crimes Task Force.
New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani, a far-left Democratic socialist who has previously faced accusations of anti-Semitism, responding from the scene as well.
This is deeply alarming, especially given the deep meaning and the history of the institution to so many in New York and around the world. And on today of all days, the yard site of Rabbi Schneerson and the leadership of Menachem Mendel Schneerson, any threat to a Jewish institution or place of worship must be taken seriously. Anti-Semitism has no place in our city, and violence or intimidation against Jewish New Yorkers is unacceptable. I stand in solidarity with the Crown Heights Jewish community, and I'm grateful to our first responders for taking swift action.
Sources telling the Post, Sahel claimed the car was having mechanical issues and that he did not make, quote, any sort of terroristic statements after he was taken into custody. Sahel's father telling the New York Daily News his son was trying to convert to Judaism and that he struggles with mental illness. Resurfaced social media video showing Sahel dancing in the same center just 2 weeks before the incident. Sahel now charged with attempted assault, criminal mischief, and aggravated harassment, all upgraded to hate crimes, according to the NYPD. He has not yet been arraigned. Assistant AG for Civil Rights, Harmeet Dillon, posting to X, quote, I have instructed our criminal prosecutors to open a civil rights investigation into the violent attack. Commissioner Tisch saying police presence will, quote, significantly increase around all houses of worship in the city. A high-stakes legal battle now underway in California, one that could fundamentally change how social media companies operate. A Los Angeles jury set to hear arguments in state court that platforms like Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Snapchat were designed to be addictive to children, regardless of the negative outcomes. Plaintiffs argue features like infinite scrolling, constant notifications, and auto-playing videos are engineered to keep kids on social media hour after hour, driving compulsive use linked to depression, anxiety, eating disorders, self-harm, and even suicide. According to the New York Times, judges selecting 9 cases from thousands, known as bellwether trials, to move forward first. Bellwether trials are seen as representative of the totality of cases and can act as a test to gauge how juries may respond to similar suits. The first trial, which began with jury selection earlier this week, brought by a 19-year-old from Chico, California, identified only by her initials, KGM, who alleges negligence and negligent failure to warn. Court filings say she joined YouTube at age 8, Instagram at 9, TikTok at 10, and Snapchat at 11. The complaint alleges she was exposed to sexual grooming, explicit images, and sextortion, where a person threatens to release explicit photos unless they're paid money or sent more photos. KGM alleges it took 2 weeks for Meta to address the problem, according to court filings. TikTok and Snapchat parent company Snap reaching undisclosed settlements with KGM earlier this week, removing them from this trial, though both remain defendants in cases still to come. Executives from those companies will not testify in KGM's case, but Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg is expected to testify next month. Legal analysts comparing the moment to the big tobacco trials of the 1990s, which ultimately forced cigarette companies to pay billions and overhaul product marketing, preventing advertising that appeals to children. If juries side with plaintiffs here, it could pave the way for more trials and settlements nationwide. KGM's attorney, Matthew Bergman, telling the BBC this trial marks the first time a social media company will be held to account by a jury. Quote, unfortunately, there are all too many kids in the United States, the UK, and around the world who are suffering, as KGM does, because of the dangerous and addictive algorithms that the social media platforms foist on unsuspecting kids. These companies are going to have to explain to a jury why their profits were more important than the lives of our young people. The social media companies say they do have mechanisms to provide an age-appropriate experience for children as well as parental controls, and the question of free will and parental supervision will certainly be a theme at trial. Until now, tech companies have largely avoided liability for content on their platforms thanks to Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act. That's a federal law shielding a platform from being sued over third-party content on their platforms. In this case, however, the plaintiffs will argue it's the design features on the platforms themselves that are harmful. New York Times technology reporter Cecilia Kang describing to The Daily podcast what kind of evidence KGM and other plaintiffs are likely to present.
What the plaintiffs are going to really rely on is hundreds of thousands of documents that they've collected in discovery ahead of these trials that the plaintiffs' lawyers say show that the companies knew that there was a problem. For example, in 2018, Meta began studying how beauty filters on Instagram.
Beauty filters, just to be clear, those are the filter you can put on your face or somebody else's face to make them more beautiful, to just alter the image, right?
Yes. And they began studying that in 2018 and decided in 2019, after a lot of backlash publicly, that they would ban the filter. But that same year in 2019, Mark Zuckerberg, the CEO, considered bringing the filters back to Instagram. These were big drivers of engagement, and young people like to use them. And employees within the company implored him not to, including an executive, because she said they were really just so toxic for particularly young girls. And she sent an email directly to Zuckerberg asking him to reconsider. He ignored the email and decided in 2020 to reinstate the beauty filters.
KGM's trial is expected to last several weeks. Beyond financial damages, plaintiffs are seeking changes to the app's designs to prevent future harms to children. And that'll do it for your AM Update. I'm Megyn Kelly. Join me back here for the MK Show, live on SiriusXM's The Megyn Kelly Channel, 111 at noon East, on youtube.com/Megyn Kelly, and on all podcast platforms.